Welcome, everybody. It's 5 o'clock. We have a quorum present.
I hope
So we can get our meeting
His
underway.
wife just got her social
Before
work.
we move on to business, we do introductions. The new member joining us. So Bonnie, you want to introduce yourself and then we'll go around and let you know who we are.
Hello, everyone. I'm Bonnie Boothroyd, longtime resident of Iowa City and longtime educator, retired now for about 10 years, but just feel really honored to be here. I mean, this library is just a gem, and literacy and community are really important to me. So happy to be here.
We've just been chatting. I'm John Rayburn, and I think I don't need to say more. We've been talking about my children.
I'm DJ. I do orientation, so Bonnie and I know each other.
Joseph Lawson. Nice to meet you.
Dan Stevenson. I teach 8th grade down in West Liberty.
Oh, nice to meet you, Taylor.
I'll go through about orientation.
We just met Tom.
I'm Claire Matthews. I'm the teacher librarian at Lucas Elementary School and next year also at Twain Elementary School.
Nice to meet you, Claire.
We'll see how it goes.
And I'm Robin Ketzel, and I'm over at the university. Nice to meet you.
What do we do there?
We met at orientation,
Yes.
but I'm Jen. And I'm Ann Mangano. I'm head of collection services.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Angie Pilkington and I am head of children's services.
Hi, Bonnie. I'm Sam Helmick, and I'm the community access services coordinator.
Jason Paulus, adult services coordinator.
I'm Katie Roche. I am the development coordinator and I'm the Access Library Friends Foundation.
All right. I will work hard on names. I recognize many of them from the things that I've read and that you've written. So nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you. Welcome.
Yeah, again, welcome. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is the approval of the May 23rd board meeting agenda, that is today. So can I have a motion to approve today's agenda?
So moved.
And a second. Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, thank you. We now reserve time for public discussion. I don't see any, well, I have one member of the public, but I don't think, I don't think he wants to address it. So, great. And we move on to item 4. As you probably learned in orientation, we always have, one of the great things that the library does is routinely review policies. We hit every policy every 3 years, sometimes more often. So this will always be part of the meeting. First one is the event board. And this is a rare committee recommendation to make no changes to the policy.
I was surprised by this, especially with all the attention the boards have been getting. So
Yeah, but it apparently serves well. Any questions or comments from members of the board about that? No? I did have one question myself, was just, let me just see anything. Yeah, so the eligibility basically is nonprofits and governments and stuff like that. Does someone check that an organization is a nonprofit, or we do? I knew.
We have like a rigorous training document with even screenshots of how we would go through that process.
Okay.
We try to take it seriously so that it's equitable.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments about the event board policy? And I would entertain a motion to approve. So moved. DJ and
Second.
Bonnie's for a second. Thank you, Bonnie. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. I feel compelled now to say that when I woke up yesterday, I was 7 time zones later than whatever it is here. And I got home very, very late last night. So if I say words that don't make sense, would you please take them in? I have these little bells going off my, so just let me know if I say something that doesn't make sense. Next item on the agenda is policy review on community relations policy. Here we have a minor recommendation.
I've got a bit of pedantry to. Okay, so, so we're saying membership in civic organizations will be maintained. One that's, I think, intentionally a bit vague, but is it the membership or participation that is key? Maybe I'm being way over the top.
Well, I have, on that same sentence, I have a question. So does this come about because the Chamber of Commerce can't hang on to a name? Is that what we're trying to do here?
Partly, I think it was that, and also just to be vague enough that as things sort of change over time, we don't bring this back to your table unnecessarily.
Cool. That's kind of what I figured.
I think participation is interesting because we may not qualify to always be a member in some organizations.
Yeah.
Maybe they're in advisory capacity or another way, so.
I like
Point.
participation too. I mean, sometimes it's as simple as being invited to present.
Right.
Which is participation, but not membership.
Right.
Sam, do you have any concern?
Love it, I think.
Nail it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes, the previous sentence talks about participation.
Mhm.
Maybe it's applied, maybe it's-
The only thing that I guess that does trigger a question for me is just, do we need to have some sort of codified policy that supports us having memberships as well? Because we know that there's been legislation that is
Oh,
counter to
thank
any
you.
sort of membership whatsoever.
Oh, thank you.
We need to have a policy that addresses membership in ALA and ILA.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
If we think those are the only specific, yeah, but yeah.
And especially what we would pay rates to.
Okay. Ooh.
So,
If we change it though, is it within the board's rights to deny our own membership? If it is, I don't want to change it.
But ALA and ILA aren't civic, they're professional.
Right.
So I don't think this
Right.
is the piece that refers to that.
Okay.
Participation in others.
Okay.
I mean, participation could take the form of membership if that's appropriate. So,
Okay.
yeah. So I'm hearing that we should consider adopting this with the change that second sentence of 700.4 would read participation in civic organizations will be maintained.
Okay.
Any other conversation about policy? I move to approve. DJ moving to approve. Looking for a second.
I'm moving a lot today.
Did we get a second?
Sure.
From Robin? All in favor?
Hi.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Brings us to the Adult Services Department Board.
I have a report.
Oh, sorry, President. Thank you. Yeah.
I typically include a written report, but I
Right,
just got
that's
back yesterday to work after being off, and big thanks to the coordinators and other staff who picked up other extra responsibilities and roles while I was gone. Not surprisingly, everything went perfectly. So, and just to reiterate, welcome to Bonnie. We're really glad to have a full slate of board members again. Wanted to give a brief update on the capital improvement project going on in the boardroom, which I realize has been a shockingly long project. And I will tell you in advance that when you walk into the room, it's going to feel like an underwhelming change. It looks nice, it looks clean, it looks fresh, but for the amount of time that it's been closed for this use, it will be a little surprising. Right now, we're waiting on some furniture, including the table, which was an unexpected twist to the project. But Jen, I would say I feel confident that by the end of the fiscal year, that will be up and running. So
This will be delivered on the 21st.
okay, cool. So hopefully very soon. If anybody would like a sneak peek, we can take you in there anytime. But we're optimistic that'll be done. I'm really glad that we started that ball rolling when we did, so that we're not running into fiscal year straddling with the budget. You may have received yesterday the summer reading program mailer. We mentioned in a meeting previously that It looks a little different this year. We decided to try a new approach, which is a 4-page mailer that sort of has some highlights to the programs in addition to links to an online version, a longer version of the document. So sort of the traditional summer window, I think it's a 16-pager, is going to be online with the full details of all the programs and things like that. The mailer was more of a teaser document this year. There were a number of reasons for that decision, one being environmental impact, another being budget. We're always trying to kind of figure out that balance. So we're looking forward to community feedback. We did include a QR code specifically to give feedback, whether about that mailer or other things. I'm hopeful that people will take advantage of that and reach out and let us know what they think. And as needed, we can print the full document, the 16-page document for patrons in-house. So we're curious to see how it will change things, and we'll couple that with asking program participants a little bit more about how did you hear about this? You know, where are you getting your information? There was an ILS upgrade, which is the integrated library system that we use here to manage circulation and other resources. On Monday, that resulted in 4 hours of offline time for the ILS. In the past, I would say this is a very disruptive service to have out because it impacts much of what we do. This time, Brent and Todd Brown, another staff person here, were able to figure out a system to use the self-checks and some ancillary technology to offer seamless circulation through that outage, which is a really big deal.
Really big deal.
It resulted, I mean, the old way would have been, we would have done everything manually, and at the end, we would have taken those notes and manually uploaded them. This, they were able to write a program that communicated after it went back online. And I just want to recognize the work that went into that. And I think that aside from the fact that patrons all were routed to the self-checks during that time, there was almost no service impact. So great work to the staff of you guys.
I'll give you a little clap because I've seen that go so badly.
Yeah. And otherwise, I'm just kind of getting my feedback underneath me from being off, and everybody's gearing up for summer reading. That's what we're working on.
Thank you. Any questions for Ellsworth or comments? Now we can move to the adult services report. Any questions, comments about that report?
People stayed away from the garden beds this year?
What's that?
Have people stayed away from the garden beds more this
Yeah,
year?
you can see out there on the way out, the first bed is yet to be tilled under by me. I left it alone because we're planting next Thursday. If you want to plant anything, native pollinator plants, come next Thursday at 4. But then I went on vacation and I came back and everything grew 2 feet. So there's last year's mustard greens are now in flower out there.
Lettuce out there?
There's some lettuce in flower. It's an experimental bed right now, and that'll be all Iowa native pollinator plants from Trustees plants. They're donating everything. It was through a memorial, and I said I have money for you, and they said thank you. And so big thanks to that group. And then the other garden bed has been planted now for a month and it's thriving. And Victoria put out the trellises, I think, while I was gone this last week. So
It was looking great. I was just
get ready.
okay.
If you see something that looks harvestable, don't be shy. You're just giving it to any old person that wanders by and is hungry and would use it.
Cool.
They used to try to preserve it for a table and then run it there, but it's such a small amount and in little,
To learn.
Little
today,
dribbles,
this,
yeah.
tomorrow this, and then it was just kind of like, who's going that way? And so now we just sort of leave it on the welcome desk for people. Sometimes we just, Victoria's watering and somebody wanders by and says, "What a lovely garden." And she says, "Do you want to take a look?" And so we've got a lot of good fans out there
That's the summer greeting of an Iowan. Do you want some?
Yeah, right.
How many
Want some
zucchini?
zucchini, yeah, right.
And also Victoria, and shout out to Katie for nominating Victoria for the award. This was
Yeah.
the inaugural librarian award for this education award ceremony. So it's really excited to be able to honor Victoria. And she's not one that likes to get an award in front of a lot of people, but it was fun to force her to do that.
All right, and then we have a report from Community and Access Services. Anything to add? Sam? Any questions for Sam?
Just report that I'm balancing out all the pancakes with the produce, so it's.
Okay, you guys need a strawberry
Well,
patch.
Well-rounded library agenda.
Yeah,
Nothing's for your
Maple syrup.
it's all coming together, friends.
One thing to add to your department, when we were down, one of the things that I was most impressed with, I walked down maybe a half an hour after the CR was back up and everything was checked in. And on the carts, ready to go.
Oh.
Like, I forgot that we were down. I was like, wait a minute, are we done for hours?
Thank you, Dan. We've got a perfect clockwork system in place and our pages really showed up. And we had a week and a half notice for all of this because that's sometimes how integrated library systems work. So yeah, wonderful. Great.
Great. Anything else? We move on to, I think, the Development Department report. Anything to add or any questions?
So we're a department that sets up speakings with Pulitzer Prize winners now.
That's right.
That's
right.
That was a nice development that we won the Pulitzer shortly after.
Yeah.
Probably
A week after
because-
visiting with us.
Okay, just saying.
It's a noteworthy, yeah.
Do you have a prediction?
We are a city of literature.
Yes. I have to say thank you for bringing her. She was one of the most generous speaker of that sort I've ever heard. She really attended to the fact that she was speaking in Iowa City and cool, really tailored things for her audience. And it was a marvelous talk.
I'll just highlight the book bags with benefits project. Sales are happening, people are buying them, and we're just really excited about the project. We hope that it helps to promote intellectual freedom and cause conversations around that with the graphic imagery and inspire people to be positive advocates for public libraries and for our library. And then also to bring more books into their lives with the benefits that the bags bring their way. And hopefully it'll be a nice fundraiser for the foundation as well.
I was just curious about the art. Was that like a submission or did you?
So we
Phone of-
worked
how did that work?
directly with the White House of Fashion and asked for the recommendation of a young graphic designer, and they recommended me. And so I worked directly with them, so they got to have like a client design relationship with me to learn about kind of how that works. And we worked on creating this design. It's their artwork 100%, but we worked on bringing it to fruition together through discussing the library bill of rights and library advocacy and what those important details might be to bring to the forefront of that conversation.
Cool.
Right. We move on to the president's report. I'll start by thanking Joseph and Bonnie for agreeing to serve on the foundation board as our board of trustees representatives to the foundation board. Thank you for that. And also on the ICPL Friends Foundation front, at our next meeting, we will have two meetings. At 5 o'clock, we will meet as the corporate members of the Iowa City Public Library Friends Foundation. That meeting usually takes about 5 minutes. There's just some formal business that has to be done every year. We'll adjourn that meeting, which will be closed to the public. We'll adjourn that meeting and begin our Board of Trustees meeting, open to the public as normal. So, it's quite formalism. Don't get really excited about the controversies that might arise. And that's all I have to report. Are there any announcements from members?
I was happy to host the children's department, partnering with Angie, very last minute and very email tag, but it worked out fabulously. My students were super excited that Clifford the big red dog came to visit. Mary and Miriam from the children's department came to speak to my library, our school. And it was super exciting and engaging. They did a great job. But they did say summer reading numbers were down last year. I wanted to ask Jason, is it true of adult numbers as well?
Yeah.
That's district-wide, we only saw 750 students district.
Really?
I mean, but through the library, there was more. When you add the preschool numbers and then you add the adults and from, and then like outside, like the school.
Yeah.
But from ICCSD, there's only 750 students that participated last year.
Okay, well, we're working.
Yes, Longfellow, the students that participate get a ice cream party.
Oh, that's fun. I don't know if I have that kind of leverage, but I next year have 2 schools, so we'll see. We'll see.
Jason has mustard green. So that was, one of our, getting the mailer back out and then making sure we got to all of the Iowa City schools, which we made it to all of them. Except for, we did not hear back from one. We did hear back from one school. But I'm happy you're going to be at one of those schools next year.
Yep.
Maybe we'll get into that school next year. But yeah.
Victoria will be at Southeast and I think City too.
That's awesome.
So
That's awesome. We had fun having you. I know it was kind of like a quick morning scramble, and then my other kindergarten is super excited to come visit next week.
Oh, yeah?
Coming to visit, so they're
we had
just thrilled. They love it so much.
we had another Lucas last year, last week.
Yeah, one came last week and they rode the city bus, and then on the way home, they waited for a city bus for an hour. The kindergarten class, like well past lunchtime, and they did an awesome job and everything went way more smoothly than it could have. So but much better, hopefully, for the next round.
That Clifford costume is pretty
Yeah, it looks highly stuffed. So thanks for doing that. Okay, I'll let them know. They did a good job, but it was kind of intense for a few minutes.
It's self-board.
Any other announcements from board members? Does any of the committees have a report? Wouldn't expect one. No. Brings us to the consent agenda. I guess I will look for a motion to approve the consent agenda. Moved by DJ.
Should get a trophy.
I'll second.
And seconded by Clara. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
I
opposed?
abstain.
Yeah,
I'm going to abstain
okay,
because I wasn't attending.
fair enough. And were any opposed? Okay. I think I am supposed to ask if anyone wants anything removed from the consent agenda, but kinds of things we put on the consent agenda, I don't know why anyone would need one removed, so I kind of skipped that. And then the agenda for June. As I mentioned, we'll have our corporate meeting. We'll review the library use policy, adopt the NOBU budget, and have the listed department reports. Yeah. So, having completed the agenda, I believe I can adjourn this meeting.
It's a record. Is it a
It's
record?
not a
It's not a record.
2 minutes.
Oh, man.
We're like three or
Other
four.
people have been here a few years, like, no, that's not a record.
Yeah.
17